This is not the first time an incumbent is going to lose elections. An incumbent in Malawi lost elections. An incumbent in Liberia lost elections. And history is littered with such kind of incumbency. The people are so confident that when the united opposition gives them their candidate, the election will be as good as finished. The people's resolve to take William Ruto home is overwhelming. When you go to the entire Mount Kenya region, where Mr. William Ruto garnered 4-point-something million, and when you look at the situation as it was in 2022 and as it is now in 2026, a man who has lost a serious voting bloc like Mount Kenya region, how can he win an election? It is one thing to be pragmatic, and it's another thing to be cynical. A man who is going to face Kalonzo Musyoka with his 4 million votes, how can he win an election? A man who is going to face Western Kenya with its 4 million bloc, even if we were to get only 2 million, how can Mr. William Ruto win this election? It is good for them to have the arrogance of the heart, the arrogance of the soul, the arrogance of their mind, but that does not reflect what is on the ground. People want to get back their country. They want to restore the rule of law in this country. They want to restore constitutionalism in this country. And what people matters most is a question of how do we get back our country? How can our leaders be accountable to us? How can we get good governance? How can the government that we elect become transparent? That is what is ailing and our people. That is what our people are thinking. Our people are not being impressed by a 600 meters bridge. And just to demonstrate how that is, how factual that is, when Mr. William Ruto indicated that he has opened a bridge of 850 meters, the next day Kenyans were on that road, measuring to see whether or not it is actually 830 or else. Fortunately, he was proved wrong. It turned out that it was 600 meters. Then the other question Kenyans are asking themselves, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta was able to construct an expressway, 24 kilometers, and he never made fuss out of it. What is it that you're telling us that you've made 600 meters? You've spent 3.8 billion on 600 meters and stolen $1 billion. What are you telling us? Kenyans are asking themselves, how can we get a government that is going to fight corruption? Kenyans are asking themselves, how can we get a government that is going to control state wastages? Those are the pertinent issues Kenyans are speaking about. And that is what we in the United Opposition represent. If you look at the composition of the United Opposition, look at Kalonzo Musyoka, a senior counsel. Look at J.B. Muturi, a retired Attorney General. Eugene Wamalwa, a lawyer. Manzo, a lawyer. Martha Karua, a lawyer. You can count them. And our group is littered by those individuals who believe in the possibility of restoring the rule of law in this country. And our conviction as the United Opposition is, the moment we shall get this country back to the path of rule of law, we'll have solved 80% of the problems ailing Kenyans. Because 80% of the problems ailing us revolves around issues of accountability, revolves around issues of the rule of law. That is, if you are to speak about Gunism and the way the police is just watching them with laxity, you look at the question of the implementation of the Police Act. That is the rule of law. You look at the question of the ODPP, Article 57 of the Constitution. The ability of the office of the deputy of the director of public prosecution to implement the law and prosecute those individuals that were involved in Waitima Church. Prosecute that individual that was involved in the murder of Ojwang. Prosecute the individuals that were responsible for the murder of Ouma in Huruma. That is a question of the rule of law. You may speak the British English, speak all the vocabularies that you've learned from America or wherever, but that is not what Kenyans want. Kenyans want a simple issue. We have a new constitution. The moment we enacted this constitution and gave it unto ourselves, we thought it was our new beginning. Kenyans are looking for that new beginning now. They are looking for that person who is going to breathe hope into our constitution. The constitution, which I said is a premises of the opposition's manifesto, or is the backbone of the opposition manifesto, will resolve all these issues. Be it the question of procurement, Dibal. If you're looking at the question of procurement, transparency in the manner a procurement is done, accountability, the process of monitoring and evaluation, all of that is in the Public Procurement and Disposal Act. So if you were to implement the Public Procurement and Disposal Act to its content and to its letter, you will have completely resolved the issues of wastages and procurements. If you were to look at the question of how do we scale our salaries for our workers, you go to the Salary and Remuneration Commission. You look at the Act and you see how it balances those issues. You just need to implement. If you go to the question of the wastages, you then knock in the office of the Auditor General. You see this office has wasted, has committed these wastages. You hold that person to account. We are going to get back our country when we restore the rule of law in this country. So Kalonzo Musyoka is the best bet for this country. Having been a vice president, a senior counsel, a man who understands the rule of law and the importance of implementing the rule of law in this country, is the best bet for this country, and that is why you saw Muturi endorsing him. And there are going to be many, many more endorsements coming. They are lined up. People are going to endorse him because they believe that a person who can reclaim this country, a person who can reconstruct this country, a person who can restore hope to the hopeless is none other than Kalonzo Musyoka.